Okay, welcome everybody to today's webinar. It's how to use YouTube to promote your tourism business. So we're very, very fortunate today to have a guest presenter do this webinar for us, Beck King. She is a dynamo in both the tourism business arena as well as digital marketing, and we're very pleased to have her along with us today. We're very, very excited, always excited to have Beck join us. So Beck is actually located in Tassie. So if you find there's a little bit of lag in your speakers or anything, that could be why, and she is having a little bit of internet issues down there, so hopefully we won't have any of that today, but just bear that in mind. Now, a couple of things before we get started. You all are at the moment on mute, so we do that for a reason, because otherwise we get a lot of feedback and there's a lot of issues in the background, so we do mute you all in that case. So, but what we also do is we've got a couple of ways if you have questions. So on your right-hand side of your screen there is a panel, and in that panel there's two ways you can ask questions. You've got a little hand that you can place or you can put up. So if you've got a question you can raise your hand, or you can simply type your question into the question box that's located in that panel on the right-hand side. So if your question, if it can wait until the end, please hold off if you can, because we want to make sure that we get through all the content today, because there is quite a bit to get through. Otherwise, if you've got something really pressing and you want to answer it right there and then, type your question in, and then I will stop Beck mid-sentence hopefully and not put us too far off track. So what I might just ask everybody to do right now is if you can all just test your raising your hand. If you can click on that so I can see that you're all reading me loud and clear. And here we go, we've got raising hands, which fantastic. Everybody's raised up their hands, which is great. So thank you very much. I'm going to put your hands down so that I know that there's no questions being asked. But other than that, I'm going to hand it over to the lovely Beck, and we'll take it from there. Thank you, Beck.
Thanks so much, Susan. It's a real pleasure to be here this morning doing this webinar. As Susan said, I am based in Tasmania in Launceston, and yeah, when I drove the kids to school this morning it was only 4 degrees, so it's freezing here at the moment. So yes, I would give anything to be in Queensland right now. Okay, so what we're going to do today, just put the agenda up. So we're going to have a look at what is YouTube and how to create an account. We're going to have a good look at the content that works on YouTube as well. Where else to place your video, so other places in the online space that you can put your videos, and where to find more information as well. So like Susan said, there's going to be heaps of information in this webinar, but we're going to share some more places if you want to really get stuck in and find out more information. Okay, so what is YouTube? I'm sure most of you know what it is, and I'm sure most of you have used it for personal reasons, to just for entertainment or for learning things. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing, and it's hard to imagine a world without YouTube these days. So essentially it's a video uploading and sharing site. And we call it a social media because people can comment and like, and in a lot of cases on YouTube, a lot of dislike as well. It's interesting, YouTube has, for some reason, a lot of people that say bad things about videos, but not usually with tourism videos. So take heart, it's usually a very positive experience for tourism. So this is the home page, and so what we're looking at here, along the top there's an ad, and you can actually close those ads. They have to make money somewhere, and that's the way that they do it. The middle area are videos that are recommended for me. So this was a home page, and obviously it's tailor-made for me, and a lot of that there is online marketing type videos that they think that I'd like to watch, and they're pretty much right. On the right hand side are recommended channels that I could follow. It's just like following a Facebook page really, so they're recommended, but a lot of those are based on everyone else's preferences as well. And on the left-hand side menu, I'll explain that as we go through. That's a little bit more involved. It also has down the bottom of the left-hand side channels that I have subscribed to, like you can see there, Google and Google Business, etc., etc. Okay, so this is what it looks like watching a video, and I can pretty much guarantee you've all done that. You can view it obviously on smartphones and tablets, and embedded in other social media as well. So as we know, it's not just on the old-fashioned sit down and watch it on the computer. People can consume this media on all different devices. So it shows you how many people have watched the video. And some videos you see that people have actually seen millions. There's been millions and millions of views, and that's what we call going viral, which we'll talk a little bit more as we go on. It shows how many likes and dislikes. So this one here has 283 likes and 55 dislikes. And unlike Facebook, this does actually have a dislike button. But again, I very rarely see that in tourism. There are watchers' comments as well, which of course is what makes it social. So if we were to scroll down a bit further, we'd see people commenting on the content and saying whether it was good or bad or accurate, or whether there's been changes, etc. And that's a fairly common thing with YouTube. So on the right-hand side, it shows other similar videos that I might like to watch. So it's based on the keywords, which we'll talk a little bit more about as we go forward. And yeah, sometimes there's some brilliant videos down the side that things you should watch. Other times they just don't seem to be spot on. So YouTube is, you've probably heard people say that it's the second largest search engine, so it's second only to Google. So what that means is a lot of people actually just jump straight onto YouTube and do their searches and bypass the whole Google thing, particularly younger markets. So this is back in April, Australia's social media users. Every so often, socialmedianews.com.au put news statistics of the social media use in Australia. So if you've got largely a domestic market, this is a great place to go, and it shows you what's going up and what's going down. So for example, MySpace is of course trending down. Really, really interesting information. So that can help inform you generally about where social media is at and how many people are looking at it in your target market. There are plenty of other sites as well that talk about international statistics of social media. So, but the interesting one here I just wanted to show you was how many people actually use YouTube. So quite big, very important. So it's been around since 2005, and as I said, a second largest search engine. So we know users can upload, view and share video, and more than 1 billion unique users per month. So 24% of people view it on mobile devices, and 72 hours are uploaded every minute, so you would have no hope ever of watching every clip. There would, yes, take you many, many lifetimes. The interesting thing is that it reaches 62% of travel enthusiasts, and YouTube watchers are 14% more likely to be travel enthusiasts as well. So when do travellers watch video? This is actually sourced from Google, so Google provided this information to TEQ, so it was really, really interesting. But you can see up the top that when thinking about taking a trip, so 66% of travellers watch YouTube when they're thinking about taking a trip. When choosing a destination, 64%. When looking for activities at a destination, 62%. So if you're an attraction, yeah, 62% of travellers actually watch video to see what's going on in the destination. That's really, really powerful. And for the large part, most, in this case, attractions don't have any sort of YouTube presence. So there's a huge opportunity here. And also when deciding on accommodation as well, 57%, and when deciding on which websites to book, 34%. That's an interesting statistic for me as well. I'm surprised that 34% would actually go to YouTube to find that information, but apparently they do. So some really interesting research there. So online video as a resource for planning travel has grown over time. So this is 2009 and 2012, but you can definitely see the trend for both leisure and business. So it's definitely growing. People are using it more and more. 89% of leisure travellers watch video online, but this does blow me away, I have to say. 93% of business travellers watch online video. And I think I've said previously, I don't really know how they have the time for that, but that is an incredible statistic. So depending again on your target market and what percentage you have that are corporate or leisure, this may well be something that you want to do. So the types of content. So top 5 types of travel videos watched by all travellers. So 62% of video from hotels, cruises and tours, etc. In other words, products. 58% are trip reviews from experts. 58% videos from travel-related channels, so it might be, Lonely Planet or something like that. 56% trip reviews from people like me. So that's someone like me jumping on and saying, oh, I had the best time at such and such accommodation. And 48% of videos made by people. So that's first, the 56 was reviews and 48 was videos made by people like me. So that again is sourced straight from Google. So that's really interesting information as to the types of travel videos watched by all travellers. So we do have a few stats here, but I think this might be the last page. So I don't mean to go on about the stats, but they are really interesting when informing your business planning and your marketing planning, and also really useful for things like if you're in stuff can help inform your action. So online video sites prompt travellers
Sorry, Beck,
to book.
you there? Sorry.
So travel, yeah.
Yep, sorry. Can you just go and on that slide, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep. On that slide that you just did, the online video sites prompt travellers to book, I just lost your audio, so I'm not sure if anybody else did, but I did. So do you mind just repeating that slide?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so online video sites prompt travellers to book, that slide there?
That's the one.
Yep. Okay, all right. So, so of travellers who watched online video while planning travel, the percentages say they were prompted to book as a result. So what this means is the people that watched a video, the ones that were prompted to book, 45% of leisure travellers were prompted to book after they watched a video. 72% of business travellers were prompted to book after a video, which again amazes me. And 74% of affluent travellers. So it does actually prompt them to book, particularly if you're in the business or particularly the affluent. So if you've got a real high-end business or high-end product, that's an interesting stat as well. And once again, a surprising stat. So we know that video works, but I just thought I'd show you this little simple demonstration. It's from the ATDW e-kit, which we'll talk about a bit more, the Australian Tourism Data Warehouse e-kit. But it just simply shows you that text is good to have, and it keeps Google very happy to have text, say, on your website. But only about 10% of people read text. So a picture just shows so much more. So the old saying of a picture speaks 1,000 words is very true online. But a video is just that step further, and to actually watch a video you can really, really get a feel of a place. So many people say to me, oh, if only people knew what it was like at our destination or knew what it was like at our property, everyone would come. And I say, well, video is a beautiful way to show what it's really, really like here. It's also a really nice way to show what you're like. So whether you like it or not, you're actually a part of the the product that the customer gets. So the experience that they have, whether you're at reception or whether you're doing some interpretation, you're a part of that experience. So to put your own face on a video can be a little confronting, but it certainly does help explain what it's like at your place and what a lovely person you are and how people would love to spend time with you. So please do consider doing that. Okay, so we're talking now about setting up YouTube. You need to press the sign in button so you can see the arrow there up in the top right hand corner. So that's a simple thing to do. So just press that sign in button. And YouTube is actually owned by Google. And Google has lots of different products, I'm sure many of you use them, but Calendar, Google Drive, Gmail, iGoogle still, AdWords, Google Reader no longer, but along with other kind of non-Googly ones that we don't know so much about, like Blogger and Picasa, and I think Orchid as well. So Google has quite a suite of online tools, and the chances are you might already have a Google login. But I'm just going to show you, for those that don't have a Google login, I'll just show you quickly how to actually get a Google account. Okay, so you press the button that says create a new account. And then you do like we have to do so often online, and that is fill in our details. I would encourage you to fill in your actual correct details. If it is a business, that's okay. There's ways that we can identify that this is business YouTube rather than personal YouTube. And I'll explain those in a few minutes, but it's best to actually have your details, because there is a process for if you forget your password, and it will ask you your date of birth, etc., etc. And the other thing to consider is to choose a Google username. When you're choosing a username, you are actually choosing a Gmail address that people might like to use. So don't use something too silly. You can use a personal name, or you can use a business, or whatever you want in this particular case. But you can't change your Gmail account, email account, without completely dropping all your Google information and starting again. So you can't actually say, I'm really sick of this Gmail this Gmail address, but you can, so you need to actually decide here and now what it's going to be, and you probably want to stick with it for a while. So you can see the second half here, so this is just scrolling down. It's got one of these things that we call Captcha, so they are those funny words that you can see there, and it simply is a way for robots, for Google to determine whether you're a real person or not, because only a person can read those funny words there. So NKS, unite, and being. So you need to type those in. People do get really frustrated with them. You can press that little audio button there, the speaker button, and it will speak it to you, and you can type them in. So in terms of the terms and service, or the privacy policy, and the privacy policy, in a nutshell, and I certainly would encourage you to seek legal advice, because I'm definitely no legal expert, but the way I interpret it is that you are responsible for what you put up on YouTube. And I believe you still own the content, but YouTube or Google are allowed to distribute it anywhere. So that's why you see YouTube clips pop up all over the place. And the other thing to consider is not to upload anything you don't own. So you do have to own it. You have to have recorded it yourself, or gotten permission off a friend if it's one of their recordings. It's probably a good point just here to let you know that if you are going to go down the path of having, say, a local video produced with a local production company or on a local TV station, you just negotiate right from the start that you have rights to it and that you'll be able to put it up on YouTube. So instead of just the locals seeing it, you could be able to share it far and wide. So that's always a good thing to negotiate. So the Google privacy policy is essentially that they will track what you do. They won't share it, but they will use information to display what is right for you as a consumer. So that brings us into a whole other realm of another marketing category, which we won't talk about today, but it's called remarketing or retargeting, and that's where Google seems to provide you with ads that are relevant to what you've been searching on lately. So basically this is where you are actually agreeing for that to happen. There is a way that you can turn it off, but again, that's for another day. So of course you need to add a profile picture. So you can see there the red button, always good to do, and it can be, I'd probably encourage it just to be of yourself in this case, because we're still setting up your own account. Okay, so the Google account is set up. This of course is, you can use it to log into YouTube. You're automatically now signed into a few different Google products, in fact pretty much all of them. It signs you into Google+, for example, which is Google's version. Social media, it's kind of like Facebook, but a little different. And so you also get a calendar that you can use and share with people. You get Gmail, which is another email address for you. You get to keep your maps and lots of other things, but of course, and YouTube as well. So here, this is just the sequence that happens when it's welcoming you to YouTube, and you, it's basically suggesting channels that you might want to watch. I usually don't bother with these because none of them seem to actually be with what I really want set up. For example, I'm not interested in NBA or Red Bull, etc., etc. So you just press next. And now we're back, which should look a bit familiar, at the YouTube homepage. The only difference up the top is you're now actually logged in as yourself. So that's just the difference. You're logged in. So that's pretty much how you log into Google. So we're going to have a bit more of a look of, now that you're logged into Google, how to actually manage the YouTube side of things. So there is a button up in the top right-hand corner, which is the upload button, which to me is a very handy button to use. You'll also see dashboard, video manager and analytics. I tend to go for that one. It seems to be just a nice, quick, easy way to get stuff done. There are other ways to get into some of these areas, but that to me is always a nice, easy way to get in, get it happening. So this is what we call the dashboard, which opens up. And the first thing we're going to look at is the channel. So it's kind of like a TV channel. You get your own channel, and that's where you house all your videos. So you get a choice, of course, to use YouTube as yourself or your business. And this is kind of like Facebook. You know, you have your own personal page or timeline, and you have your own, some people have their business page or administrator. It's the same sort of concept here. So, yeah, it gives you that choice. And you can see where the red arrow is to use business or the other name. Click here. So creating a channel. So choosing a username for your channel. it's best to have the business name. So this is just a fictitious business name. I would be very inclined to use keywords if possible, and I'll talk a little bit more about those in a minute, but use a word such as hotel or accommodation, and use the destination as well. So here we've used Longreach. If you just call it something really simple, like say for example here we just called it Stanley and Nelson and left it at that, there is no way that the Google or YouTube would have any idea where it actually is. So the more information, the better. So up the top, just like on Facebook, it says you're using YouTube as Stanley and Nelson Hotel. So that's a good thing. And it also gives you the option up on the top right hand side. It says want to switch accounts, click here. So this is the way that you actually manage business and personal. So over here, creating a channel, we're going back to creating a channel. Yeah, click on the blue square and then click on My Channel. And this is where we go to put some channel art. So it's amazing how many businesses or YouTube channels that I see that don't have a nice piece of art up there. And by art I mean a beautiful photo, your hero shot, or even some nicely graphically designed art up along there as well. So it is like a cover photo on Facebook or a banner along the top of many websites these days. It's interesting, graphic designers and photographers are needing to produce a whole lot more different artwork as a really long landscape rather than a portrait. We also need lots of little squares as well for our user profiles on Facebook and different social media. So you do need a nice long photo. So it's good to have the hero shot in mind. You want to have that there ready and waiting. And of course you want to choose something that's aligned with your branding as well. And a lot of people do get their logo imposed on a photo or do it themselves. It's not too hard to do that these days. And this of course is where you can do it. You can just drag a photo in there, or you can upload it. So press the blue button to select a photo from your computer. So nice and easy to do. That's a nice simple process. And so the channel art is going to look different across different devices. So you can see here on a desktop computer, it's going to be a long thin strip. On TV, because some people watch YouTube from their TVs, it's going to be a really big photo. On mobile it's going to be much smaller. It also gives you an option to adjust the crop, and then of course you press select once you're happy with how it looks across those different devices. So this is how it looks. You can make changes whenever you like to it. There are good and bad examples of what looks good, but you do really want it to be your hero shot. The one area that I would pay particular attention to is the About section. So I've got an arrow there pointing to the About section, and it's really important that, sorry, I'll just control this so you can see it. There's the About section. So it's really important to help Google and YouTube know what your channel is about, and so therefore it can come up in searches. So sometimes we get really frustrated because we think, well, why doesn't my website come up, or why doesn't my Facebook page come up in a search? And also the same thing happens with YouTube channels and videos as well. It's all about the types of keywords that you put into your description. So I will explain, as I said, the keywords in a few minutes, but you need to put as many nice words as you can in there that explain your business. So the most common types of words. So it might be you want to put the words accommodation, you might also want to put hotel, you might also want to put B&B, you might want to put lots of different ways to describe accommodation. Even though you might identify it as just a B&B, the chances are that consumers might be calling it something like a motel, rightly or wrongly. So lots of different words in there, lots of different words about your location, so local, regional, state, nearby towns, features of your property, different types of experiences that they can have nearby, lots and lots of information. There is a really good tool. If you Google, there is a YouTube playbook, which is like a help center, and if you just type in the word channel optimization, it gives you some lovely information on how to optimize your channel so that people can actually find it.
Sorry, Beck.
Now here's the channel. Yeah?
I've just got a hand up, so I'll just quickly address that if we can. So I'll just
go for it.
Unmute Kerry. Kerry, are you there? Do you have a question? No? Kerry, can you hear me? If you've muted yourself, Kerry, you might need to unmute yourself. I've unmuted you as well. Okay. No, we might come back to Kerry later on and just check with her later at the end. Go ahead, Beck.
Yeah, yep, that's fine. So if it was about the channel optimization, just to recap on that, so yeah, go to Google, type in YouTube playbook, as in P-L-A-Y book, and then type in channel optimization. It's a bit of a mouthful, but that will actually come up. And yeah, lots of great tips on optimizing your channel. So it's always good to look at other channels to see yeah, some best practice. And Queensland, I've looked around for different ones, but I keep coming back to Queensland as a really good example of what you should do. Obviously, photos are beautiful. It does have a good about section which describes it really, really well. You can see that people have been subscribing to it. The videos are all of a really good quality. It's got a header that is obvious as to what it is, and beautiful profile pictures as well. So have a play around in that one and just see what they do. Obviously the resources are different compared to a small operator, but it is quite inspirational to see what can be done. So to upload a video from your computer, there are obviously a couple of different ways to upload, but we're talking about the computer here. So you've probably got in your files some old videos which are just sitting there, which are fantastic and just need to be published online. So this is where you do it. It actually sends you an email once your video is processed and ready to be watched. So that's kind of nice to get that email. And you just simply press on that button and select the files that you want to upload, or you can actually drag and drop them in there as well. So naming your video is really, really important, and I know that we've all seen online videos that aren't named very well, but this is really, truly where Google and YouTube, this is how they know what your video is about. So keywords, very, very important. Be very descriptive. Be very descriptive. It's not enough to call it a date, so the date that you took it. As many words as possible. You can fill in your YouTube video title with up to 100 characters, and the video description can be up to 5,000. And you can tag up to 120 characters as well, which means that you might want to put a tag in there of say accommodation Queensland and your locality as well, as an example. Now smartphones are wonderful, and anyone who's got one in their tourism business, which are quite a few people these days, wouldn't be without them because they just make their life so much easier. The camera on your smartphone, in a lot of cases, depending on what sort you have, particularly newer ones, are high def. So they're really, really good quality. You can take high def video. Back 5-10 years ago, that was, of course, impossible without one of those big old video cameras on your shoulders. And even then, it wasn't in high def. So it's sitting there waiting for you. You can take, obviously, photos, but we're talking about videos here. And you can also edit them on your phone as well, which is good. You don't have to worry about fancy editing software. It's all there. The other thing, this is a really, really good app that's available. It's called Captcha. You can see there the red arrow is pointing to it. So it's just Captcha. It's actually YouTube Captcha. And it's just a really, really easy way of uploading your videos to YouTube. Before this came along, it was a little bit harder. There are a couple more steps, but this is simply a really easy way of doing it. So on the next screen here, you can see you just take the video. Always take your videos in landscape, and I'll show why in a second. That's really important. You can see there that's a screenshot from my phone, and you just nominate which video that you want to upload. So it might be the one that you've just done. You can enter a title. You can share your location if that's appropriate, which it probably is. You can link, you can do special effects on it as well. So if it's looking a bit dull, you can lighten it up and brighten it and make it look way more intriguing than it actually is. And you can also share it on other social media. You can see there Google+, Facebook and Twitter. You get to nominate the privacy settings on this as well. So it's a nice little way of doing things, and you can edit. Yeah, there are different editing options available too. So you just simply hit the blue upload button, and best to do it on a Wi-Fi network so you don't use up too much of your 3G. And before you know it, depending on the size of the video, it's uploaded straight to YouTube. You do get to nominate whether it's going to your channel or personal as well. So very, very handy tool for tourism operators. So this section here is the video manager. So this shows you all your videos that you've uploaded. So I just use this one as a bit of a demonstration one. So there's nothing terribly exciting on this particular channel. But so this is obviously on the computer screen. So it shows you how many people have viewed it, how many people like or dislike it. And this is where you can make any changes to your video's details. So if you think, oh, I really need to go and make some better choices about the About section or about the names of your videos, this is where you do it. You can also change it. Some of them might be set to public, or some might be set to private when it should be public, for example. So this is, of course, where you do it. You can see up the top there, the top video, March the 26th. That is obviously a very, very bad name for a video, but you can see it's only 2 seconds, so it's obviously nothing too important. But you wouldn't do that. You'd spell it out a little bit more than that. So again, title and description, very, very important. You can see there, the second one down is the Norfolk Plains bike ride. That's what happens if you do actually take the video in portrait. You only get to see it as a third of the screen. It's not very attractive. Where the next one down was taken in landscape and looks a whole lot better. So that gives you a really, really nice visual of what can happen when you do it the right way and what happens when you do it the wrong way. Okay, so it's a good time now to consider where your video is going to appear and who is going to search for it. So as we said, YouTube is currently the second most popular search engine in the world, and like I said, people are actively searching online on YouTube every day. So all the YouTube videos will be ranked in Google. So you know yourself that when you do a search that often YouTube videos come up within that search. And video is actually a really, really good way to rank highly in a Google search. So if someone's doing a Google search and they press the videos rather than just the general search, there are different search options, like one might be images, one might be videos, one might be shopping, etc., etc. Within the videos, if someone was to press on the videos, it's really, really easy to rank highly because there are so many people that aren't using the correct keywords in order to describe their videos. So the videos aren't getting found. So you can see here, as we know, we've seen some statistics there about how many people are viewing it. It's a bit crazy. But YouTube videos on Google. So if you search everything, so here's the example of what I was talking about. Accommodation, Hunter Valley. If you just search everything on Google, so it's just a typical search, you can see the amount there of the results. Whereas if you press the video button and it's accommodation Hunter Valley, there's only 105 results. So it's much easier for that accommodation in Hunter Valley to actually rank #1 in that search. So there's a huge opportunity there for getting in and ranking #1. So how do search engines look at YouTube? We have it's called a WebIter or a Googlebot, and what it does is this is the same thing that has a look at your own individual web pages, but this is actually having a look in this case at the YouTube channel. And what it's doing, it's going down and having a look, seeing what you've got in there, and it comes up with a list of keywords about what your site's about. So it might be sites about something completely different, not about being an actual tourism product that people could book. So it gives it an index ranking of yours might be #3 out of accommodation in your area, but really you'd like it to be #1, of course. But and then that, of course, will come up in a search result that are customer searches. So this is the reason why it's so important to have those keywords right. Now this here is one of my favorite tools, and I use it all the time with my customers, and it is the Google Keyword Tool. So googlekeywordtool.com. It looks a bit complicated, and this is probably not a very good screen for you to be reading it on. It's a little bit hard to read, but what it does is up in the top where it says word or phrase, you just type in the most common search that people would search for yours. So it might be things to do Port Douglas, for example, and it'll then spit out down the bottom with the keyword ideas. It'll spit out all the different ways that customers could type that in. So it might be accommodation. No, it wouldn't be accommodation. If we're talking things to do, it'd be things like tours. Might be Cairns tours, or Daintree attractions, or something like that. There's a million different ways to describe it, or maybe not a million, but there's probably about 30 different ways to describe attraction Port Douglas for that area. It's amazing. Even this shows what people actually type in, and we see all the time that people type in, say, misspell of accommodation with 1 C or 1 M. We see all the different types of ways that you could explain accommodation. We see things like weather and maps and things like that in there as well. So there's lots of different ways that people type in when they're looking for what they do, what they want for a tourism product. So the reason I'm showing you this tool is because you can get in and just write down a list of all these words that you hadn't thought of before, and those words can then be used not only within your website, which we've spoken about on previous webinars, but it can be used in social media as well, and particularly in YouTube. So when you're looking at putting that about section in your channel, and when you're talking about naming your videos, this is where you come to find all the beautiful words that you're going to use. It's once you get stuck into it, it's a really, really powerful tool.
Sorry, Beck, you there?
So Yep.
Sorry.
Yep.
No question.
Am I cutting out again?
No,
Sorry.
no. There was a little bit of a drop before, but that's okay. But I just wanted to mention that I'm not sure if you realise, but Google just recently announced that the keyword tool is being phased out.
Yeah.
And the keyword planner is coming in. So really the only difference is keyword tool before was a free app, like it was a no login access required for the keyword tool. But now the keyword planner, you just have to have a Google account and you'll be able to access the planner. So very much the same. It's just that you need to log in now instead of whereas before you didn't.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Thank you. I did discover that the other day. Cool. So it's called the Google Keyword Planner.
That's right.
Cool. Yeah, okay. I did work that out the other day. So yeah, the difference is just that you need a login. So it's still, when I was in there the other day, it did look pretty much the same as before. So the actual functionality hasn't changed too much. There's a few other functions in there. So yeah, it's getting better, which is good news. Thank you for that. Okay, so getting found, obviously a good title is really important. A nice lengthy description. Links to other social media channels and websites are important too. Use those amazing keywords in the Google Keyword Planner. And apparently more than 3 videos on your channel gives it that bit of oomph and gives it that recognition from Google and YouTube. And ensure all of your settings are public as well. So content that works. There are some great examples on YouTube of content that works. These are examples of user-generated content. So the first one here is Early Beach Hotel, and this is a guy who's just jumped on and said how much he likes it and was telling everyone about what a great experience he'd had. So that was just his own decision to actually jump on there and do that. Another one is Witches Fall at Mount Tambourine, and this is more staged, where a couple are standing there and they've obviously been asked about what their experience is and they've said that they've had an amazing time. The first is probably a bit more preferable, the idea that someone just jumps on and does it because they love it. The second is still a really good option as well, because it's still authentic. Those people are obviously happy enough to stand there in front of the camera, which is a great thing. So the idea, of course, is that it goes viral. And by viral, we mean that it gets shared across the internet. You know, when you see a clip that goes far and wide, that's what we want. Now, the reasons that people share has been looked into, and it's quite interesting. They share things such as videos because it's hilarious, unbelievable, deeply emotional, agrees with their worldview, makes them stop and think, isn't covered by mainstream media, dramatic, embarrassing and provocative. Essentially the core thing there is it makes them feel something. So if you can get them engaged and involved emotionally, and then they will want to share it and share it to their friends, which is what we want. Now another area that's really important to cover is YouTube in your ATDW listing. So I'm pretty sure everyone that is listing in here would have an ATDW listing. Just stands for the Australian Tourism Data Warehouse, and it's an amazing tool. The reason it's so good is because it distributes your information across lots of different distributor sites, and puts lots of links out there back to your own website as well. So one of the newer functions is that you can upload your YouTube clips into that database, and therefore they'll get sent far and wide across the world, which is what we want. So it's important to have your listing up to date with text and pictures, which I'm sure you all do, but I'm going to show you how to upload video. So there is a tab up there which is a YouTube video. You can see that right there. Just click on that. And you have 2 options to upload to your ATDW listing. You can either link your channel, or you can upload individual URLs for YouTube clips. So you can pretty much dump your whole channel's worth of videos in there, or you can upload individuals. So it's up to you how tidy your channel's looking and whether you want to have every single video on there or not. Okay, so how to link your channel. You can see here it says please enter your YouTube channel name and click Get Video. Once your video appears, select Check to add video and attach a video to your listing. So this is where you type in your channel name. So the recent videos will appear. You can see them there. Or the other option is you can just cut and paste the video URL, which is the funny web address up the top for your YouTube clips with lots of numbers and letters in it. There's an example up there. You can see the example. So just cut and paste that in there, and that individual one will go in there. So there is some information here about embedding your YouTube clip onto your website. Now, this is definitely not my area. I'm not a programmer, but it depends on your CMS, which is a content management system. So some people have CMSs that are fairly common, such as Joomla or WordPress or Drupal. WordPress seems to be probably one of the most popular ones. It's a fairly easy thing to do, but I'd be more inclined, if you're not sure exactly what you're doing, to get your web developer to help you do that. If you really are techie and you love this kind of stuff, if you type in Google Developers Center and just type in the API overview guide, it will give you the rundown on how to do it yourself. So again, depends on your level of confidence. There is, of course, YouTube advertising as well. I've heard and I've seen some results, some amazing results that are done, that have been achieved by people by businesses that are putting money into advertising on YouTube. There are different types of ads. You can just promote an actual video, or you can actually put an ad in front of a video. Depends on your target market and whether they'd actually like to see it or not. I find them a little bit frustrating as a consumer, but you know, a Queensland holiday would actually be a really lovely ad to see, so just depends where you place it. There's information. You can see here YouTube means business. If you type in YouTube means business and press that YouTube clip, funnily enough, it gives you a really good rundown of your different options in terms of advertising on YouTube. So video strategy, probably need to be a little bit strategic about doing these things. It might not just be yourself that's putting the video up there. It could well be other staff members. Doesn't mean that you need to decide on every video right now, but every video going to load up, but it forces you to consider and plan which types of videos you would like to use for your business. So define things like what sort of sound quality are you going to have, what is the quality of the video, are you going to have it really really polished, or are you going to have it kind of really authentic and a bit rustic? How many staff are going to be involved in this? Is it just yourself, one-man show, or are there other staff members that could also be uploading video? Are you going to have your logo on, say, the bottom right-hand corner of every video? Are you going to have a URL on there as well? Maybe a closing picture, and of course, what sort of content are you going to have there as well? So lots of things to consider. There's a concept of a content calendar, and this applies to your video strategy as well. So you can schedule into a calendar when you're going to create these videos, what you will film, where you want to post the video, who will create it, the staff, and what equipment you need as well. You might decide you want a tripod and a special mic, things like that. yeah, so these are the things that need to be within your strategy. There's also distribution, and distribution in this case we're talking about obviously where you're going to put these wonderful videos. It's a no-brainer that it's going to go onto YouTube. It might also go onto other video sharing sites such as Vimeo. But of course it can appear on all of these different social media sites here as well. So you can get a lot of reach. There's one in the middle there called Vine, which is probably the newer one. It's been around for a little while now, but it's simply short little video clips on a loop. A lot of teenagers like it. I haven't seen that many examples of businesses using it really well, but it could, if you do something really cute and funny on Vine, it could go viral, which would be a bit of fun. So nothing is worth doing if it can't be measured. So you need to be able to measure these things. There are individual video stats in YouTube. So you can go in, it can show you things like how many minutes watched, how many likes, how many views. It'll show you wonderful things like where in the world people have been looking at your videos, and also the top playback locations as well. So you can see YouTube watch page, so watching it on the main page in YouTube, or mobile devices, or embedded player on other websites. So it might be a player within your own website, for example. It also talks about top traffic sources as well. So yeah, whether it's like a referral from YouTube or whether it's a mobile app, etc., etc. So really, really interesting information. This is fairly new. We didn't have access to this. And it's similar to Google Analytics, but it rates your performance. So you can nominate the time frame. So you can say, how have we gone in the last 30 days, for example. And yeah, different demographics, like I said, traffic sources, devices, and how long they watch the video. It's all in there. It's quite interesting actually. And obviously there was not a lot of engagement in my muck around site on those 30 days. Now of course there's Google Analytics as well. And Google Analytics can help you understand how YouTube is driving traffic to your website. So this is Google Analytics within a website. And your website, as we know, is the hub of your digital strategy. And so this gives you some great information as to how YouTube is working for you and how much traffic is being driven to your website from YouTube. So that's a good one. And yeah, it shows you what sites they're coming from. So this is just an example of behind the scenes on a website as to what traffic is being driven from where. So that's important. If you don't have it, please, as one of your top priorities, if you could get Google Analytics on your page, it will help you interpret things, especially video metrics. There's a list here of all the different things that you can rate. I won't go through them all now because we are running out of time, but there's lots of different metrics that need to be considered. So just as I promised, there are some more resources in the e-kit. So the ATDW Tourism e-kit, there is some great tutorials, one being tutorial 47, YouTube and video hosting websites. That's a great one to go and find some more information. And tutorial 16A, which is video for your website as well. So those two there have a lot of wonderful information for you. Additional resources, so Tourism and Events Queensland have an amazing amount of resources, and I can say that because I get to see all the other states and look at the industry information that's available. Tourism in Queensland does a wonderful job. There information on online bookings, yield management and the Wiz. There is of course a tourism e-kit which I just mentioned. Heaps of information on marketing in the big marketing guide, and the General Resource Centre, but also the Better Business Guide as well. Heaps and heaps of information. Just go onto the Tourism and Events Queensland corporate site and you'll find it all there. with the Digital Ready program, which is a part of this program here, there are workshops, so workshops sometimes in your area, and Susan would be able to comment on that. There is mentoring available as well, so depending on the time of the year and what availability there is, people can actually come into your business and sit down and help you. If that's not available, there's always coaching service over the phone and email, which means anytime you have any problems with your online marketing, there are people that are available to help you. There are also webinars such as these ones, and you can go back and have a look at the previous ones too. So this is all the different workshops available. You can imagine there's one on just about everything. Now, this is a picture here of Susan and Mirko. So Susan, we've got you up in lights. And these guys are the digital coaches that are available based in Brisbane, and they can help you whenever you have any questions. They're a wonderful, wonderful resource. So now I think we've just about run out of time, but we might just swing and see if we have any questions.
Thank you, Beck. That was great. I'll just put it out to everybody if there are any other questions. Now, I have got a question from Cecile. Didn't understand the change regarding keywords. What's new? So Cecile, I might just take you off mute because I have another question for you. Can you hear me there, Cecile? You might have to unmute yourself as well. Can you hear me? Okay. No, but I think if you're talking about the keyword tool, Cecile, on that one, all that's basically changing is that the keyword tool was a free access, no login tool before, but Google has decided to change that, and you will need to log into Google to access the keyword planner. There's a couple of little new things in there as well, but that's basically, it's very much the same. There's not much difference between the two. It's just that one needs a login now. So I hope that answers your question, because I have taken you off mute, but it doesn't seem like you can hear me or I can hear you for some reason. So I hope that answers your question. Is there any other questions? It is. Okay, good. She's just given me the okay, thanks.
It is pretty much the same. When I used it the other day, it was pretty
there's
much
not
the
much
same.
difference at all. So is there any other questions?
But they are just trying to stitch you up a little bit more with getting you involved in AdWords, so they do try a little harder to get some money out of you. That's probably
right.
the only difference. But you can still avoid that.
Yeah, there was a question a little bit earlier from John. John, I've been typing backwards and forwards with John. If you're still on the line, John, I have since had an answer to your question. So he asked about getting their videos up onto our Queensland YouTube account. Now, basically, the answer to that is there's a couple of answers actually. So first of all, it won't do you any favours by having your video on somebody else's channel. So you need to use your own channel and your own keywords and your tags and your descriptions and so forth. So it's better to have your own channel. And the other part to that answer is that you can't load your video twice. So it will not allow any duplicate content basically on YouTube. So if you had your video on your own channel, then you wanted to put it on our channel, it wouldn't actually let you. So the best answer to actually give you there as well is if you want to get a bit of traction and get your video highlighted out there, if you're on Twitter, you're best off to actually tag @Queensland on your tweet and then put a link to your video from your channel onto that tweet as well. And then we will then retweet that out to the audience. So that's pretty much the best way I can answer that one for you today, John. Unfortunately, it's not something that we actually do put operators' videos up onto our own channel because it's not allowed. For one, you can't have duplicate content. So I hope that answers your question, John, if you're still on the line. Catherine has just asked, can we get a copy of this presentation? Yes, we have been recording this whole webinar. So once we edit it and make sure all the audio's in check, we will put it up onto our website. There will be a link to the recording for you. So keep an eye out over the next couple of days. I will just quickly type in the website for you so you all can see where it will be once it goes up, and you can then take a copy, or you can watch it again if you wish to. So there it is there for you. So you've got it on the screen, but we've just slightly changed our website names as well. So if you have a look in your chat box, I've just posted the new link for you there, as well as the YouTube playbook link that Beck was talking about earlier. And make sure I haven't missed anything else. Okay, yes, Kerry, I think I've just answered your question as well with the recording, and I think that's it. Everybody else, it doesn't look like I've got any other questions. I've got some thanks that are coming through, which is really good. So a big thanks to Beck for joining us today and presenting this webinar for us today. I much appreciate it on behalf of Tourism Events Queensland. And if there is any other questions, please don't hesitate to email that email that's there on the screen at the moment as well. So more than happy to help anyone that needs it still. So much, much appreciated for you taking out the time today for everybody. And have a lovely afternoon and a great week.
Great. Thank you. Thanks, Susan.
Thanks,
Thank you, everyone, for attending. Bye-bye.
Bye.